Alright, so in security, whenever you have to enter in a password or anything else like that, you're always prompted or required to, make a set of passwords. It shouldn't be a word. It should have uppercase and lowercase letters. It should have a number 0 through 9 in it, and it should also have at least one symbol in it. That's a lot to remember. I can't remember 15 different passwords for all of the different sites that I visit, especially if they can't be related, they can't be the same password, or anything else like that. So my proposal is something called a responsive password system. Is this system perfect? No, but it is a nice happy medium between accounts that aren't super important. So for example, like, a Facebook page or anything that doesn't really deal with, your personal identity or finances or anything else like that. So what we have is the responsive password system. All right, what you want to do is you want to make something called a root. All right, and this is going to be the section of your password that does not change. All right, so when you're building your password, I'm going to choose something simple. I have a calculator sitting around, so I'll use CALC as part of my root. All right, so I'm going to need 4 spots for that. All right, I'm going to put in an uppercase C. I want to use a symbol, so I'm going to use the @ sign because it looks like an A. All right, L, I'm going to do a lowercase, and C, I'm also going to do a lowercase. So already I have CALC as part of my password system. Now, if I were to use just this password, first off, I'd probably get it rejected because it's not 8 characters long. But in addition, it's not very secure. It's only got 4 different characters that can be used, so if you were to keep guessing symbols over and over and over again, you'd be able to figure it out pretty quickly. However, here's where it starts to get responsive. So what we need to do is we need to have it work with every single system that we want to log into. So for example, I'm going to use, I'm going to use 3 of them. I'm going to use Facebook. Alright, let's use Gmail. And let's use eBay, because those are some pretty popular sites that people use. Alright, so what I need to do is I want to start responding to these different types of sites that I use for my login. So my password is going to need some additional pieces to it. Alright, and I'm going to say 8 characters is the, the recommended setting. So I'm going to put 1 behind it, and I'm going to put 3 in front of it. And I'm just going to put the brackets around it just so we can compare it back to the root. So this piece never changes. Alright, so there's a bunch of different ways, and we also notice that I still need a number somewhere in my password, just in terms of password security, just so this will work for every single system. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to develop a number with something using these different types of sites. And luckily these are all .com, and .com. Alright, so these are all the links that I can use. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the domain, or the .com address, and I'm going to use it somewhere to generate my number. So Facebook, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That has 8 letters in it. Alright, Gmail has 5. Let me just organize these out. Alright, and eBay has 4. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a way to generate the numbers from here. I'm just going to +1 to each of them, just so it's not as easily noticed. So that'll be 9, that'll be 6, and that'll be 5. Alright, and I'm eventually going to be putting my password into this section. Alright, so the number sign. I'm going to put the number sign immediately after calc. So this +1 modification is going to go in after calc. Alright, but then I also have 1, 2, 3 different letters left to put in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drawing or pulling them from these different .coms. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to look at is Facebook. What I can do is I can grab any letter from here that I want, and it's going to be whatever is important to me. So, for example, for simplicity, I'm going to take the F and the K, the first and the last letter of each of the domains. Alright? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, and that's going to go here. So I'm going to call this the first letter, and I'm going to put the last letter here. Alright? But what I'm also going to do to make it a little bit less predictable is I'm going to take the first letter, and I'm going to go backwards in order. So let me just draw a line to divide those ideas. And the last letter, I'm going to bring it forward one. So I'll put these in parentheses as well. All right. So the first letter is F. All right. Well, it goes A, B, C, D, E, F. So when I subtract 1, the letter E goes in here. Now, do I want it capital or do I not? It's really up to me. So for this case, I'm going to grab another first and the last. All right. So the F goes to E. And I'll make this capital as well. All right, the last letter I'm going to leave lowercase. All right, A, B, C, D, E, F, E, G, H, I, J, K. The next letter is L. So I'm going to use a lowercase l because the K is going to go to the L. All right. Gmail, well, actually, I have one more spot. So what I need to do here is I need to pull in another item as well. I'm going to take the second letter from here. So whatever goes in this box is just going to be the second letter. And I'm not going to do any transformations to it either. Alright, so this is the second letter. No transformations. Alright, so this will be the letter A. Alright, let's look at Gmail and apply this to it. So, Gmail, the first letter is G. Alright, but the letter before it, because we're subtracting 1, is going to be the letter F. And it's going to be in capital. Alright. The next one, we have the last letter. We're going to bump it forward one. So L goes to M, lowercase. All right, and then the second letter goes there. All right. Last one, we have eBay. So the first letter. All right, and we're going to subtract 1 from it. So that's going to be the letter D in capital. All right, the last letter is a Y. We're going to add 1 to it. So that's going to be a lowercase z. Oh, that came out a little weird. All right, and then finally, the letter B is going to go into here. So I'm going to grab another piece of paper, and we're going to extend the passwords out from this and see what each password looks like, and we'll compare them to each other to see exactly what ends up happening with our passwords. All right, so we got a new piece of paper we're going to add in, and we're just going to be writing out the new password for this. So I'm just going to transfer a little bit of information over because we want to see what the root system looks like, and then we're going to start plugging them in. So it's a blank letter, and then it's capital C, the @ L, C, and then we have 1, 2, 3 letters. So I'm just going to draw some grids so we can see exactly what it looks like. This stays the same, so we don't have to touch that, but we do have a few extra spots. Alright, so this is the top one. This will be for Facebook, this will be for Gmail, and this will be for eBay. Alright, so this is the second letter. Alright, this is the number sign plus 1 that we're putting in, because remember each of them get marked forward by 1. Alright, we have the first letter minus 1, and we have the last letter plus 1. Alright, and we don't need this at all. But anyway, let's start plugging it in. So we have Facebook, Gmail, and we have eBay. Alright, so our password for Facebook is going to be the second letter, which is A. Then we have calc. Alright, the number plus 1 gives us the 9 from our chart up here. Alright, on this one, the first letter F gets marked to E, and the last letter plus 1, the K, goes to the letter L. So the whole password that we're using in here is lowercase a, C, @ L, C, 9, E, L. Alright, now let's go on to Gmail. Alright, we need the second letter, which is an M. Alright, the calc holds. The number of letters plus 1 goes to 6. Alright, the first letter minus 1 gives us capital F. The last letter plus 1 gives us the letter M, which gives us M, C, @ L, C, 6, F, M. Alright, and finally we have eBay. Alright, so the second letter is a B. Alright, the length of the domain is 4, but we add 1, it gives us 5. Alright, the E gets translated to a letter D, capital, and the last letter gets translated to a lowercase z. So that gives us B, C, @ LC 5D lowercase z. Alright, so our passwords look quite nice and unpredictable. If I were to remove all of these algorithm pieces from it, and we were to just focus on these chunks, it would be very difficult to try to find the pattern between these. And the cool thing is, you can do this however you like. What you're doing is you're adding a degree of complexity that is no longer predictable. A computer would have a very, very hard time trying to find the relation between all of these passwords. But to even go one step further, if somebody were to compromise, let's say, a Facebook account and actually pull the password, which alone is a very, very difficult thing to do when a website or a system has standard encryption features and security features put in place, they would have to grab 1, 2, 3, I don't know, probably like 6 or 7 different passwords and sit there and try to figure out the pattern. You know, a computer trying to do this would have to be specifically coded for this. But here's the other thing. You know, you're going to be choosing your own responsive password system. If you wanted to go even further with that, you could take an entire list of the 32 different symbols, and you could draw a logic map that even brings it further. So you could say, you know, I'm going to take the first letter of Facebook. It's an F. So using my chart, A, B, C, D, E, F. And now all of a sudden you need to add that ampersand sign somewhere to your password as well. So you could do that with, you know, Gmail as well. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The apostrophe mark could be part of it. All right. eBay, same thing. A, B, C, D, E, the % sign. So there's a bunch of ways to do this. The only thing that you want to be careful of is getting confused by your own work. So you want to be very careful with this, but at the same time, you also want to make sure that you have the rule stored somewhere. You want to make sure that that stored algorithm is something that you can clearly understand, but that nobody else will gain access to. So if you have like a locking safe, if you want to keep it on there, you know, it's a good way to keep it secure as best as you can. So, like I said, this system is not perfect, but the responsive password system does have some value, especially on sites where the accounts are not super important. But the absolute worst thing that you can ever do is use one single password for everything. Somebody who's trying to gather your information is not going to go after Facebook or Gmail or eBay or any of that stuff for your password. They're going to go after the weird message forum that you joined, or, you know, the weird app that you just tried and they said, hey, try out our app and, you know, just make a user account, and you decide to use the same password. If one of those little startup apps or something that doesn't follow proper security measures all of a sudden gets compromised, now they have your password to everything. At least with the responsive password system, all of your passwords are different, yet they all have a similar root sense to it. But everything else, the extra symbols, the extra characters, and all the other rules that you decide to make, definitely will help you build a little bit more of a secure system that you can at least remember. Another thing to keep in mind is you should be changing your passwords every 3 to 6 months. You know, if you're dealing with some really, really high security stuff, you may want to go even further with that. And even more steps, you know, a two-way verification, so you can set it up so you get a code texted to your phone. Not every service does this, but, you know, YouTube, Google, Facebook, eBay, a lot of them are starting to open up a two-factor authentication system. That way, when they send a text to your number, you know, you're the only person who can pull in the code that gets sent to it, as long as you have your phone with you. Alright, so hopefully you enjoyed watching this. This is a nice little dive into some data security, and it's a nice thing to just keep in mind if you ever get really, really frustrated with passwords. Alright, so if you have any questions or comments, post them at the bottom. If you like these videos, please like, comment, and subscribe if you think it's worth it. Alright, this is Brian Fadouk. Thanks for watching.